Hello, welcome to the More Cheese, Less Whiskers podcast. My name is Dean Jackson, and today we're talking with Jesse Ibanez. And Jesse's out in San Diego. I've known Jesse for, probably 20 years now. And Jesse owns a real estate and mortgage company in San Diego called Greenhouse Group. And they really get behind this whole idea of the green lifestyle and sustainability. And, they're in the right area for that. Certainly, a lot of people, especially in Southern California, resonate with that, as do a lot of people all around the country. So he's opening up a brand new office in an area where they'd like to do more business. And we talked about how to integrate or marry that sort of resonant purpose that they have with their business and the economics of it. How do you make sure that this is something that's going to fit with the sustainability of your business rather than focus on something that's just going to entertain you? So I think we worked through some really great things there and some really viable evil schemes to attract more business and stay true to what their real passion is. So enjoy this episode. Jesse Ibanez. Here we are. You heard that. We're recording live.
I beat you to it finally. See, Dan never gets to beat you to it.
That's true. So tell me, I'm excited to, it's a little ray of light on my calendar to see Jesse Ibanez right here, live and in person. So,
well, that's only because I'm not wearing any pants.
Oh, well then, perfect. Tell me what's going on, Jesse.
Well, I'm delighted to carve out a little chunk here with the artist formerly known as the DJ. Maybe more contemporary is Moo Moo Buckaroo.
Oh, hey there.
I've been working on some of these for you.
The Moo Moo Buckaroo. Oh,
good, man.
Me up.
No, so we got this new spot, Dino. There's a new addition to the family. Our little greenhouse group is all growing up. And we just bought our first building, and we landed it right here in the heart of San Diego in like an historic little street called Adams, and it's a corner spot, and it's a little craftsman house, and it's about 1,000 square feet, and we're gonna revamp the thing so that it not only can exist as our office building, but also a model for the neighborhood to be able to take, what's pretty typical for what everybody lives in, because it's not an office building. It's actually a little craftsman house. And say, hey, you don't have to scrape it. And if you can't afford to move into the spot that you want, you can actually, revamp this and you can do it green, right? So that would be with the homage to, energy efficiency, water efficiency, indoor air quality, reduced recycled, reused materials, and then, tipping the cap to the green EQ, like the effectiveness quotient of green lifestyle. And so we're gonna do that, and we're gonna model it for everyone, so that it'll be a little signature piece for the neighborhood. And I wanted to connect with you and tap into your infinite bedrock stream of celestial wisdom and see how we can actually employ this house so that it literally is one of the team, like generating business and stuff, just like we're trying to do.
Okay. So tell me, so this would be useful because we go way back. I know the backstory, but it'd be helpful to explain it to me like we're just meeting right now so that people listening will know kind of what you do and what you're up to.
Yeah, fair enough. So, we're kind of trying to be the heretics, the unbrokers of the real estate game. We're kind of trying to shake some shit up a little bit, right? So there's that old traditional conversation of someone kind of stepping in between two things that are already moving, and how that's kind of perpetuated itself from the beginning of time until now. And obviously that, might be the product, but the process leaves a lot kind of left to be desired. So, we're trying to kind of merge into that space and, 2.0 or maybe even 3.0 the game a little bit and make it more about the actual experience. Maybe that's one half of it. And then the second half is this little green flag we're trying to raise up to, kind of give a glimpse to maybe what's coming down the pipe next from the product perspective too. So, that's us. We're a small little team here in San Diego. It's basically myself who runs the real estate side of things, my business partner, Jeremy, who runs the mortgage planning wing of things. So we do both in-house and helping first-time buyers, first-time sellers, and anybody interested in the green lifestyle. That's our niche.
Okay, perfect. So when you look at it, you couldn't have picked a better place than San Diego to tap into that whole vibe. That seems like you're right on, really resonant with that group. So you're in the right place. Tell me about this house that you got here. This is your real estate office now. And I remember telling you, it was funny. I was at Mike Koenig's office, which happened to be right above in the same building as where your old office was, which was funny because I came down to get some water or get something to drink at the little store that's in the building there, and I'm looking and I see their greenhouse. I'm like, wow, I know that guy.
Oh, you're kidding me. You're talking about the TD Ameritrade building right there in Mission Valley?
Yeah, right where you were. Because do you know Mike Koenig's?
I don't. I feel like that name's familiar, but no.
Yeah, well, his office was right in your building there, so it's kind of funny because I popped in, but you weren't there.
Oh, that's
but it was
too
funny
bad.
it was funny to see. So, okay, so you've moved out of there. You bought this building. You're in the community now. So you're kind of
and now Dino,
mm-hmm.
just to be fair, so we're actually still in that office. We're in the process of rehabbing that building that I'm speaking of. We probably won't take occupancy until June or July. We're speaking in January.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so but that's the plan, is that you're headed that way.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay, and so it's really interesting. Do you remember Tom Cook from Toronto?
Sure. You bet.
Okay. Yeah. So, Tom years ago got a similar small house on a corner in an area of Toronto called the Beaches, and we set it up as a real estate viewing center, which is what this is like in 2000, 2001, when the internet was just becoming the thing. It wasn't as mature as it is now, but we'd set it up that people could come in and look at homes on the big screen and all that stuff. But the fun thing that we did, he was saying, like, what should we use for the signage? Because he had a pretty good corner, with good traffic going through it. So rather than just put like the Thomas Cook team, we put his URL. So we put TorontoRealEstate.ca on there, and then we had a real estate viewing center. And the fun thing that we put on there was right on the front thing. We put free popsicles. And,
I love
and that was kind of the thing, that people would comment on, that they would come in and, you would have free popsicles for people who wanted to view some homes. But it was kind of an outward focused thing to the building, using it as having the signage and everything about it kind of telegraph that this is a space for you. It's not just not to house my office. It's not our ivory tower or our,
Right.
corporate bunker. This is for you. And we're saying, welcome, come on in. And the free popsicles was kind of like the invitation, like, we're serious. Come on in. So
now, I love that thought.
Yeah. Now, when you look at it, that sort of thing, if you look at the evolution of the need for a real estate office, is really pretty low right now, in terms of the actual practicality of it. In the old days, people would have to come to the real estate office to get information, but they don't need it now because everything about every property is available online right now on their smartphone. So they don't need that. And they don't even need to come and really meet you there. But how could you? What are the things that could be useful in a space like that? How are you going to set up the actual floor plan, like, of the space? What are you going to have there that would invite or be able to facilitate kind of community involvement? Or what's your vision on that? Do you envision doing small workshops or demonstrations or product demos? I mean, what are you going to make this a kind of demo center for all these, for green things? How do you envision this?
Your intuition is obviously pinging, and so first of all, that's exactly why I wanted to reach out. Like, I love that about you, dude. I love that you came up with the popsicles. Like, that's so Dino. It's not even funny, right? So just pure joy for stuff like that. And I totally want to, like, if we could crack a code for something like that for us, dude, hallelujah, right? So more specifically, though, absolutely. The extra investment, first of all, the monetary investment for sure, right? In not just like, going, commercial grade carpet, with the horrifying cubicles. Like, we're actually going to do this like a demonstration home. Right.
Yeah.
And I should say at least the client facing part, like the front stage. Yeah. Right. So from the front door to the little, but the challenge we have with that is we only have 1,000 square feet in this little old craftsman home, and we still got to have like room for desks and stuff like that. So we're going to definitely, our plan is to have this be an open front door kind of thing where we actually have little workshops where folks can come in and they can learn about those 5 tenets of green lifestyle and actually touch and feel it. And, so that whole thing, like, so there's definitely that component.
What are the 5 tenets of the green lifestyle? Just like,
Sure. I ran through those there at the top. I did it kind of quick. So it's energy efficiency, it's water efficiency, it's indoor air quality, again, reduced recycled reused materials, and then that green lifestyle sort of quotient thing, like being able to ride your bike to work or transit close by or, walk your groceries, like all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So those are the 5 tenets.
Okay.
Now, I also would add a 6th. The thing that I'm kind of hype on recently is sort of like home automation and stuff, like technology, like Google Home, Nest thermostat, all talking to each other and, keeping your energy bills down and all that kind of stuff like that. So I'd even add a 6th onto that for myself. But to your point about the popsicles, one thing I do plan on investing in, and I don't know if this is going to corollary or not, because it's just not quite in that same easy to execute category as popsicles, but I'm going to invest in one of those badass coffee makers. Like one of those real deal ones, like where it makes the noise and, it's like, the grind, the whole thing. And a lot for team camaraderie, but also I'd love it if anybody just popped in and we made them a coffee.
Do you have a nice patio space or a craftsman home? You got a porch probably, or
Yep. There's a nice big porch on the front. Yep.
Okay. So that may be, if I were thinking about it like that, like to increase the space there, I might have some that might think about the way that I create the window that opens from the kitchen out to the patio or something. Anyway, just to facilitate, just to make some bigger space like that,
Yeah.
Just to facilitate that kind of thing. The other thing that you could do, like to multiply the space, is to kind of think about it, if you've got that limited amount of space, to rather than have it be kind of a physical gathering place, which might be a little more difficult, is to make it a virtual gathering place by creating some elements of a studio in there, where you could do like a video, it could be the video podcast headquarters, or audio podcast headquarters as well, so that you've got, it kind of becomes iconic for the, for your outreach of it,
Yeah. No, I actually have that now. I pirated a big chunk of our current space. I don't know if you saw it when you came in. There's a big, nice green screen. The lights are all hanging from everywhere. And the reality, unfortunately, is that we don't use it as much as we had intended on, just because it kind of feels like the needle kind of shifted over kind of towards more raw stuff. And that's not to say that the ores are shipped completely on something that's produced a little nicer, but still. So I just have, I'm not sure if that's going to commute itself over just from space, required. I'll probably just have that be my office, Dino. I'm probably just going to have to multi-purpose my office there. But hey, something real quick that reminded me, you were talking about that. I was just up on a little family vacation in Northern California, in a beautiful little town called San Anselmo in December. And we were grabbing breakfast, and there's this really cool thing that I saw. It was a corner spot, and I recognized the name was a real estate name. It was like something in Vocal or whatever. I can't remember. It's not that popular down here. And so I walked in because it caught my eye. I walked in because it didn't look like a real estate shop at all. Like they had a couple things in the window which were real estate-y. Yeah. But I walked in, and sure enough, it was a wine bar. And the guy was right there. He was all primmed up, classic, handshaker dude there. It was rocking the Saturday shift. And I was like, dude, what are you guys doing? And he goes, he's like, this is basically a wine bar, and we just happen to do real estate here. Yes. And I was like, whoa, it's kind of like one of those little mind, expando blastos there. And there was a guy here about the coffee shop.
Yeah, there's a guy in Winter Haven that did that same thing. They had a cafe that they would run that was integrated into their real estate office.
So what do you think about that? I mean, I'm not trying to get into the cafe business, but I'm just like that, just kind of ruminating inside that little bubble for a second.
No, but if you're getting into, I like the idea of that you're integrating that into the community in a way, right? Like if you're saying, how do you, and what's the best outcome here? I mean, fundamentally, it's still going to be driven by your real estate business. That's the fundamental thing, right? If we get down to it, the core is that we want to get, build a relationship with people who are going to buy or sell homes, right? That's really the fundamental thing. And you're kind of using this green context to set a context for the relationship, So that, I think, goes that goes a long way, but you got to do it always with your eye on the fundamental business, right? Because a lot of times people just don't connect the dots. They don't do it in a way that is connected to the core business, right? So when you think about it, it's not just like, it's not enough to just be, we're green and we're support these and we support the fundamentals and all this stuff, and oh, by the way, we do real estate, is like, how do you integrate those, and how do you become kind of the only choice for people like that, people who that really resonates with. And if you're looking at it, that if you take each of these elements, right, you've got a great relationship with your after unit, right? You have a lot of people that you have that you have a relationship with over all these years, and those that as a core is really a great place to come from. But this additional thing of now being out standalone in a community, is it in an area where you hope to get more business, or do you just in a location that a lot of your business happens, away from that neighborhood? Or what's your intention there?
Beautiful pivot. So one thing, full disclosure here, I've somehow managed to get away with knowing you as long as I have, and Joe and, all these guys, that concept of having a target market and a farm and stuff with never actually having one.
Right.
Okay? Like, so, we've got a niche, but other than that, we're kind of slutty. There's very few parts of San Diego County that we don't serve.
Right.
And so because of that, we've never really been like, okay, this city block, right? And I've always had that thing in the back of my mind that maybe you told me decades ago, where you said, it's amazing when you do the metrics on an area like yours, you could dominate like 1 square mile around your house and live like a king, like that whole thing, right? So
that's part of the thing I always say to people, like, Jesse, if you did the math on that, and all of a sudden there was a new law enacted that you could only practice real estate within 2 square miles of your office, you'd make more money. It's funny, but true.
But potentially, and if I'm being honest, the truth also is that there's a little bit.
Potentially, I love how you cycle that. Yeah.
There's a little bit about, like, I like to live and think through the concept of an abundant lens. And there's a little bit of like scarcity that creeps in, like the Langoliers of a Stephen King novel. Yeah. When I just think of like my 1 square mile, because then all of a sudden it's like mine, and like someone comes in and I'm like, how dare you? That's my listing. Like, like this old, I turn into that old creepy curmudgeon from the porch. So anyway, but now's the time. So now I got the spot. And so now what I want to do is I want to dominate that zip code, basically, right? So so that's for us, it's the 92116, and I plan on doing my first Getting Listings campaign in earnest around that whole thing, right? And then so that's definitely part of the vision.
Okay. And so I look at that as, that's kind of the fundamental thing. But when you look at it, that how does this intersect with those, what did you call them, 5 fundamentals, or the 5?
The 5 tenets.
5 tenets, okay. So how do the 5 tenets intersect with with what's going on right now? So with people who are looking as buyers for energy efficient homes, part of the thing that you have when you have a focus like that is, what would be a check mark, or what would be a checklist of things that would constitute an energy efficient home? If you're saying, if somebody came to you and they're really into this and they said, listen, we really want energy efficiency, that's a really high priority for us, what would be the boxes that they would be looking for a house to tick? Kind of thing.
The truth, Dino, is that that's actually, one of the things that's been a little bit of a struggle in the sense that it's like, you can have a sense, I'll take ownership. I have a sense that this is the future for a myriad of reasons we're not going to go into, right? So let's just concede that point for a second, right? So that concept, but it's never been a right now thing enough to where like this is really like inside the granularity of someone's like search swath, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
it hasn't like migrated to that thing. So from a marketing perspective, I bet for clicks and flicks, you could probably get someone to be like, oh, that sounds cool, to grab their eyeballs and kind of take them down a path. But like when they're sitting down across the table from me and we're going into the metrics, man, I can count on one hand in my whole career that someone's been like, okay, well, it must have a, energy efficient quality and rating, of the HERS rating of this, that. Like, it's just not like it's still below zero. It might be doubling underground, that whole thing, like the 6 Ds there, but it hasn't made it above zero yet.
Okay. And so part of that, then, that's where I would want to test and see if that's actually true, like to see if,
I like that.
If there's enough of somebody who would do that. Now, the good news is that with Facebook right now, it offers you amazing opportunities to target specific people.
Right.
And, with a specific message. If you took an intersection of people who are, within 2 miles or whatever of your office, your zip code there, and who also, if you did some research, like certain things that would indicate that they are conservationists or green or something like that, and you were to identify with a little bit of research things that can't be algorithmed, like homes with energy efficient, like if you were to do the green. Because I think it'd be interesting if you became kind of known for something like the green list, where it was the 10 most energy efficient homes, right? Where you post that. That somebody who that's important to could resonate with that, right? Like if they're not going to...
I love that thought.
Right. Typically people are not going to make a decision exclusively on one element like that, but if they do, that this is the place to go. You're going to kind of attract the people that this becomes a priority for,
Yeah.
And I think that the homes that are listed that are energy efficient probably do a really good job of saying we've got solar or we've got this or, that those are the things that, there's something that you could own, that you could do that search and research it better than anybody with an automated search could do. And then
I love that thought. It's really, really creative.
And that's kind of it fits, right? You've got to definitely find this intersection because otherwise they're not easy to connect otherwise,
Yeah, that's the market maker, right? That's the whole, lakefront homes deal. And then, and that's that side. Because the whole time I've just been thinking about this being sort of a continuity play, if maybe I can borrow that term out of reference, with the ownership class, right? The folks that are already in, cultivating a conversation where you're saying, hey, it's us, like creating like tribe, right? Where it's like, hey, we're the green tribe, we're over here. And when you go to list your home, of course you wouldn't think of anybody else because, we're a group, we're a sect, we're a pack, it's a band apart kind of thing, so having that, I've thought about doing like little greenhouse tours, but then I've wondered like why would the owner really care to do that. There's really nothing in it for that, so
No,
I've been kind of
but that's where I
stumbling
think
around
if you
on
go
that.
out of your way, if you take a little bit of effort to identify each week the green list, that these are the homes, these are the new homes that have come on the market that are,
Right.
that have a, five
Right.
sunshine rating or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
That those are, that you would become kind of known for that, and that would be a differentiator. And then now you've got that market maker element that you are really now attractive to people who have energy efficient homes to want to list with you, because you seem to attract the people or resonate with the people who have that kind of message. Now, another thing that I might look at for this is I would do some research on grants, tax credits, all these things that are available for home buyers to upgrade or, make these energy efficient changes to their homes as they're buying, to make it sort of seamless for them. If you work with, that there's, an opportunity to get. Do you know off the top of your head any tax program, tax credits or grants or forgivable loans or, anything that is available to home buyers as they're upgrading the homes they buy?
Yes, actually, most certainly. So twofold. In terms of the local sort of governmental programs, my wife and I actually took advantage of one that they were doing where we took our old 1963 beach house and we made it more energy efficient than I think it was 2006 standards or something like that. No, that's too long ago. 2012, I think it was, standards at the time. And then so there was like a demonstration home where then they literally had people from the community come parade around our house as an open house to see what we did. The only challenge with that stuff is I was kind of trying to do it to be, the dude who did it first, the pioneer, right? So then, go back and kind of bring it to my peoples. But then what happens is the whole political nonsense, theater, and then the funding goes away and it's not there anymore. And then, it got kind of exhausting to keep up on it. So, so just kind of all right, well, I guess that's that, it's whatever the winds of change are kind of with that. And then on the other side, we do mortgages in house, and there's always been the energy efficient mortgage, where you can kind of do that stuff. And it's a kind of a form of a little rehab loan there where you can get a budget to do upgrades and stuff as long as they're energy. And for some reason, they just haven't ever been that popular. Again, I can probably count on one or two hands in our entire career anybody's even taken advantage of those programs. So it's just weird.
Yeah. And that's and that's why I'm very cautious when I look at it, that, to separate the things, one of the things I always say to people, are you doing this, is this approach to entertain yourself or to sustain yourself? And that's the thing. You have to be willing to admit that I'm willing to go down this because I'm passionate about this and I'm interested in it, and I want to do it regardless of whether it's going to improve my business or affect my business, versus my priority is that I want to do this as a great thing for my business.
Yeah, I hear you, and that's a solvent point, and I think where the rubber meets the road on that is that while it's a flag we fly, to use that metaphor again, it's never really been a divergent path in terms of our bottom line stuff. It's not like we're divesting thousands of dollars to this conversation that nobody wants to be in, or that it's ahead of time or whatever. Like, we're just still cruising along and, gratefully top 1% in our market and stuff. But it's like, I've always had this feeling like it's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when.
Right.
Like that it's still just like, the zeitgeist has arrived, but it hasn't moved in yet. Like that whole thing is going to become more and more important to people as we go. And the truth is, we do have a harbinger up north, the Bay Area, to talk about your algorithm. That really actually was exciting to me because they do have it woven into their MLS already. So they actually have green scores, like we have walk scores.
Yeah.
And we don't have that yet, right? So I got to believe that's probably coming too. You know,
so be cool though, while it's not there, for you to be the leader of it and the only one who's bringing it out there.
I love that, man. Now it's going to take some lifting. I'm going to have to moo the what out of that.
Yeah. But I mean, but there's part of the thing though, is that you're going to have to, it's going to require some research, right? Which is
right.
Yeah, which is the advantage that you have in this, is that nobody else is doing that. Plus, you'll get to see, does that resonate? Like, are people asking for it? So if you if you did it one time and you just had, the 10 most energy efficient homes in whatever the on the market right now, that would be a really great, easy way to start that and see if it fits, or to
I love that thought.
See if you can build a group of people who that resonates with, so that you're now every week sending out the green list. That's your thing. It could be. I think that's a wonderful thing. Then, the other things where you could go down that path, if you look at solar being one of the things that not every house is suitable, for solar or ideal candidates. But if it were pre-screened that these are, solar ready homes kind of thing, right? Like they're on the right side of the street and they've got the right unobstructed roof top to the sun, and they're in the right price range, because sometimes it doesn't make sense economically on some of those. Like, when you just look at how fast things are changing, you look at the things where the cost of those panels have been coming down, and they've been getting smaller. And then what Elon Musk just unrolled last year with those beautiful solar tiles. Why wouldn't anybody have those solar tiles, right? And that's just like, now you're kicking yourself if you got that big moon panels on your roof that you're going to become profitable on after 8 years or whatever.
It's hilarious. I actually put my name in as a refundable deposit. I was one of the first in San Diego County. I'm really hoping that those end up panning out financially, because he hasn't really released. He's making some bold proclamations about it being cost effective, but I guess we'll see. But that's really exciting. I love, so with the vision I had, Dino, was I could even do like some kind of little outreach program. Forgive that, maybe that frame there, but just, like some kind of postcard deal, or, or maybe even a Facebook ad or something. And then try to rally if anybody feels like they have the greenest home in the zip code, and then literally take a checklist of all the stuff in there and just check off all the boxes that they have and what they don't. And each house gets like an EQ score. It's like an effectiveness quotient, right? And you could even do some kind of little silly, plaque or something, for the one that, that wins or whatever. But the point is that if it worked, I just had an opportunity to, in a different capacity, coming in maybe through the side or even the back door proverbially, to get into a relationship with these folks who maybe aren't, selling right now, but when they do down the road, now they're on my team.
Yes. Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, because that's part of the thing. We always talk about, that in order for people to choose you, they have to know you, like you, and trust you. And but people often say that as one word: know you, like you, trust you. Like that's one thought. But the precursor to all of it is that they have to know you. Period. Full stop. And then they have to like you, full stop, and then trust you. And so when you get that, if the campaign is about getting to know people in your zip code who are resonant with that green message, that's really the thing. There's a lot to be said for that. And that way, that ties in then with your green house, especially since that's the name of your company, and you've got the opportunity to host some different ways to showcase different things, little things that people can do. If you talk about a air quality certainly as one thing. You can show all the different ways that you can get that air quality. And, looking at, it's almost like you're building that relationship with people and helping them live that lifestyle, getting fully integrated with that green lifestyle, so that just like you said, when they do get ready to sell their house, that you're going to be someone that they know and they like and they trust. Mm-hmm.
So, Dino, I'm going to pivot a little bit here because I'm respectful to your time. So to your 8 profit activators, right? So I think we can both comfortably say that we're talking in and around a single target market. This I think classifies as a niche in my capacity, at least this element of the conversation. Compelling prospects, there's different ways that we can kind of get to that. I think maybe the second, the third, educate and motivate. So, Gary Vee talks about the fact that basically right now, attention is the most precious thing that exists, maybe second to air and water. And that you're not, you're an entrepreneur and you're running a media company, and then you need to be behaving like the mayor of your city. And then last is your job of actually helping folks get into out of homes and financing in between. So if I'm now taking that layer at its face, and I love the thought of, I heard you talk about putting a little visual map up on the, wall there and have the layer of oil wells and all the different things, and then the Google Maps with all the clients and okay, I got a new buyer. Like, I love that shit. That's totally going to be going down in this iteration, but maybe more specifically just to this project. So we've got let's call it 5.5 months right now until we take CO, until we take occupancy. And I thought about this as a cool metaphor because one of the things that makes us unique as a listing company is that we don't practice the 4 Ps. It isn't price it aggressively, put a sign, put it in the MLS and pray it sells. Like, we basically do all of our work in advance, and that's really our unique ability. That's the true element of the checkbook, pen, and calendar, method deal there. So all of our work kind of gets front loaded. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to make this project of the new Greenhouse Group headquarters be a metaphor of that. So, to the media company thing, like, I want to be able to document this journey of how we're basically doing this for our house and then archive and curate that as a way to sort of demonstrate to a future seller how we could also approach, maybe to a lesser degree, doing it for them as well. And so that kind of got my mind sort of flowered a little bit in that of like, okay, Dino would know exactly what the minimum effective dose would be to be able to capture their attention, say, hey, everybody in the neighborhood, this is what's going on. Come check it out. And then have that be like a deadly little metaphor for what we're eventually going to be doing for them in the future.
So you're talking about now the people who live in that
yes,
area.
Right. Yeah. My new Getting Listings farm. Yeah.
Okay. Well, part of it, so I look at it that, initially I would start with the getting listings campaign as it is first.
Okay.
Right? Like
Okay.
I would look at it because you still want to, that's going to get you more response than just broadcasting out your green message,
Sure.
So I would start and kind of keep that separated in a way initially, because now with the people who respond to your getting listings postcards, that they're going to, then I would start that bonding process with those people, and I would focus my attention on the immediate neighbors in your little neighborhood, the ones that can actually like see your house or live on the street in a way, right? To start becoming that level of neighbor with them. Are you are you on a busy street? Are you in a cul-de-sac? Are you on what's the environment where you are?
No, it's definitely, yeah. So Adams is now morphed to a business, street there. It's still very resi in the feel of it, but yeah, we're on now sort of like the business little street. But then it's like literally the next house behind us, you're in residential, if you can kind of picture that.
Yeah, I love it. Okay. And so those are the ones that I think when you take like, a couple of, within a 10-minute walk of your place there, like just in that kind of a radius with people who are out walking in the neighborhood or out walking the dog or walking the kids or just go somewhere, that those people would be sort of the prime candidates to invite to pop by or whatever. How are you, is it going to be like, what's the environment? Is it sidewalk or busy street, or is it walking traffic or driving traffic? What's the vibe,
Yeah, best way I can describe it is it's probably a mix of both, right? So on Adams there, the busy street, obviously you got the cars there 24/7, probably going, 25 to 35 miles an hour there. And then, but then interspersed with the people walking their dogs, going back and forth to pick their kids up from school, all that stuff.
Well, there is a sidewalk.
Sure. Oh yeah, there's a sidewalk. You betcha. Okay.
Yeah. So easy. So there are that opportunity then. And like you said, one block on the opposite side of your house, that would be a more residential neighborhood,
right?
A slower pace. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, when you talk about starting the bonding process with these people, like how do you imagine that? Like so, because the getting listings is easy. That's click whir, right? That's like go. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is kind of more granular. So how would you imagine that?
Well, I would imagine that I would start with just kind of letting people know what's going on. Like even if you started a little flyers or some, to kind of just let those people know what's going on. If you're saying, hey, just to introduce ourselves, this is what we're about, this is what we're building
like
here.
Like a door hanger, maybe?
It could be. That could be, certainly. And just to kind of let people know what's going on, because they're seeing all this construction going on,
Yes.
Or they're seeing whatever's going on there. So you're kind of like counting down. Then those would be the people that you might invite to your housewarming, or to your grand opening kind of thing, and have it be a showcase, to show them the different things. If you were eligible and able to get some kind of tax credit or some kind of government tax deduction or advantage by some of the things that you're doing to kind of document that and show that as a possibility for people. It's pretty fascinating. Like a lot of times people don't even know that some of these things exist. Like I'm constantly shocked. I have a client that I work with, and we do HECM, home equity conversion mortgages, kind of like reverse mortgages for purchase. And I'm constantly amazed by how many people have no idea that this is even available. People who are, because if you're over 62 right now, you can buy a home with 50% down and live in it forever with no mortgage payment.
Right.
So it's essentially like getting the house for half price, right? I mean, and people just they don't realize that that's even a possibility,
Right.
So a lot of times, if there's some kind of program that's available, that most people have a stated preference for energy efficiency and for being green and principle-based kind of living, but as long as it's not inconveniencing me too much.
Yeah,
or as long as it's not costing me more money, right? If the choice is that if it's the same money or less and it's energy efficient, I'm going to choose that choice, right? Make that choice. But if it's more expensive, now I have to weigh my thing. Is the money more important than my preference, my principle-based preference, and that's why people all don't drive electric cars and get solar panels on their roof and do all of those things that if everything was free, it would make a logical sense, but we're not living in a logical world. We're living in an emotional world.
No question. Well said,
right?
said well.
We want to balance that with, getting that, making sure that people have those choices, And so if you show that there is a way, hey, you can totally upgrade your, because a lot of these houses might be older homes and they're going to have to replace the furnace and the heating and the stuff like that anyway. So if while you're doing that, you were to choose this energy efficient model or redo the windows or insulation or siding or all of the things that go into that, and you can blend it into the purchase price, like what I'm imagining you're talking about with your green mortgage, that could be a really valuable thing if you show to people that you can get that upgrades.
And you know what, the part that was exciting to me about that is, again, it's almost like you almost kind of feel like there's a little bit of trickery going on, because my experience of doing this now, the better half of 2 decades, is that at the end of the day, it's not a big part of the conversation, but that doesn't discount the fact that I'm sure it's a totally viable part of an early conversation. Like when you're grabbing people's attention, everybody wants to pay less in monthly fees. Everybody would love the lifestyle of green. It's only when you get it all the way down to, that's going to cost me $7,000 more for that. Okay. But like at that point, you've already won the game because you've got their attention. You've got into a conversation. You've been nurturing them over time. They're like, oh my God, you guys are the bomb. And it's not even about at that point, they're not going to be like, oh, you know what? Just because I'm not going to get a totally energy efficient home from you, it doesn't mean I'm not going to buy from you still, or vice versa from sales. So I love that thought, man, that your idea of curating that and being the algorithm is deadly.
And that makes a big difference. So I think that's where you can start to gather the right people, and that way when you're looking at things, when you're looking the way you communicate with your existing clients, when you start to say that, if you hear somebody talking about, buying a home and they're concerned about energy efficiency, give me a call or text me, and I'll get you our list of our top 10 energy efficient homes list. We publish it every week.
That.
It becomes a great now referral mechanism, that people, when they hear those conversations, can be around that. And it might be just that you become equated with that too, that you're, they know that part of your, one of your charitable causes might be that that you support environmental things or the green movement type of thing as well. So you're completely kind of one of them,
Yeah, I love that thought, man. And I know we're running up here on time a little bit for you. So is there any other things that come to mind for you?
Well, you tell me, what have you heard? What's landed so far that's kind of formulated something? And if there's anything we want to get cleared up in our remaining moments there.
No, appreciate that. Yeah. So what I heard you basically say, you talked about Tom Cook, and how he did the real estate viewing center. I'm still curious about what that would look like from the 2018 version. So if a sign of a URL was gangbusters, at the turn of the millennium there, like what would be that version in 2018? I'm still kind of, churning around a little bit on that, but that thought though of the free popsicles was deadly. I'm wondering if my thought of the coffee deal can somehow, I don't know. It's not quite as easy. It doesn't fit in the exact same kind of container, but maybe there's something there, that I've always wanted this to kind of be the Starbucks for people, not to continue on this coffee theme, but just how the Starbucks dude always wanted his stores to be the people's third living rooms. You have your own house, you've got your office, and then he wanted this just to be your third living room. And I know that's not always going to be the case, but just as a spirit, like embodying that spirit where anybody can walk in, including your past clients at any time, and they can grab a coffee. Like that's exciting.
That's why I wondered about the outdoor, because I know you're limited with 1,000 square feet, but is there a way to integrate the outdoor space so it's like everybody can feel comfortable come and hang out on your porch?
Right. I love it, man. I can even see like some Adirondack chairs up there, and
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's really cool. So good work, young man, on that. So the other thing I heard you kind of we threaded off on the whole concept of being like the algorithm for for this green, the curated green list is just deadly. So reaching out, to the concept of having maybe some CPCs and some Facebook targeted stuff, and then me even reaching back out to my past clients and kind of creating like a little EQ list, which I could actually put also on that Google map. The Google map. Oh, that was a question I was going to ask you. So when you run the Google map and you roll over it, what does it actually say on the Google map?
So it's a private layer. You can create layers. So you can create a private map. And then what it shows, you can create one for whatever you want. Like you can call it whatever you want, but it drops a pin. And then when you hover on the pin, whatever data you've imported with that record shows up in the light box that pops up,
Okay. So I can control that to my heart's desire when I roll over the pin, what it actually says. Because I was planning on showing it right there in front of clients. So I was curious if you had like a top 3 kind of thing there that you did with that. That's visually there. So there's that. I can add that green EQ to that little rollover pin thing, which is cool. Curating the green list, and then a couple different ideas about, top 10 most efficient energy homes in the market right now. Walking around, the neighborhood, and then also from a message point of view, like getting back into the whole, like, hey, what money's out there, what grants, what tax credits, like, that's what people salivate for, I would imagine, because everybody wants green, but their idea is that, it's just too expensive, for me to actually go and do that. So here's a way to offset that. Great, deadly. And then walking around, the whole, being the mayor of the city kind of thing, telling people what's going on. I was even imagining like a door hanger. I'm gonna maybe throw a hashtag on there so that people can actually follow the progress behind the scenes of what's going on with it if they so desired.
Yep. And we know you got video skills, so that's you got that going for you.
I'm not sure what that means, but I'll take it.
Well, I still, what I always laugh is I always still have a real soft spot for Diego's first home. That always it holds a great special spot in my heart because that was in a time when video editing was not really that as easy as it is today. And you did a wonderful thing. Is Diego's first home, does that still exist somewhere on the internet?
Dude, it is still on the interwebs.
So if we go to YouTube and do a search for Diego's first home, would it be there, or where would we find that?
It would be in Diego's first home. I bet you anything. And, I don't know. You might have to throw in Jesse's YouTube, JESSESU, and then TUBE.
Okay.
Just so that it softens from all the gazillion Diegos out there, I'm sure.
Jesse's YouTube.
Their first home.
Diego's first home. And that, that was just that made me laugh. And that's what I always love about the thing. I'll just share what you did because you had this great idea of filming a tour of the guy, Diego, who bought his first house, touring the walkout or the walkthrough now that he's the guy who owns the house and putting it up as a thing to, I think it was even pre-Facebook, right? So you weren't even tagging it on Facebook at the time. But you could do that. It was
definitely pre-Facebook. Yeah, the YouTubes was just flexing. Yep.
Yeah. And so to have that, and you were just asking him in one of these rooms, what are you going to do in this room, Diego? And he says, I don't know. And then you flash to this party, as this was a Lionel Richie song or something, wasn't it? What was
it was Everybody Dance Now.
Everybody Dance Now. That's what it was. And I just laughed and laughed. It was so perfect. Where I got the Lionel Richie was Chuck Charlton did something then similar after that with the Dancing on the Ceiling.
Okay.
In one of his Milton Daily homes as a nod to the creativity of Jesse there. But that I think we've gone and hatched what we might officially call an evil scheme for you today.
Dino, I think you're going to have to get one of those radio boards, like those zany morning talk show host radio boards, so that whenever an evil scheme is hatched, you just press the MIDI key button and it goes like, oh,
perfect.
You could just tally them. This episode, there was 3 evil laughs hatched, and, almost like a quant, you can quant your effectiveness on how many evil schemes you hatched. I think we did the damn thing today, brother.
I think you're right. I can't wait to see how it all unfolds.
Yeah. Well, listen, man, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you. You are a bright, shiny light in my podcast phone, my friend. And
I love it.
And you're doing big things. You're doing great things. I'm loving the joy of procrastination. I'm loving the listing agent lifestyle. Always been a big fan of the whiskers. So keep it up, my friend. You're doing good. You're doing good work.
Thanks, Jesse. I will talk to you soon.
Okay, looking forward to it.
Thanks. Bye. And there we have it. I love Jesse Ibanez. I love his energy. I love everything about him. And, he's very passionate, enthusiastic. I think he's going to take these ideas and run with them. We'll hear good things on our follow-ups with him. I'll keep you posted on what happens. But, a couple of things that we point out, is that it really does all come down to how do we tie in what we're doing to the appropriate 8 profit activators. So what's the thing we talked about? The target market, people who are attracted to the green and sustainable and energy conservation message, and who are intersecting with people who are thinking about buying a house. So when you look at in profit activator 2, how do we get them to raise their hand? It comes down to, well, what if we offer them information on the most energy efficient homes that are on the market right now? Separate himself from all the other people who are trying to attract people as buyers and make it something that is not easily attainable. He's going to have somebody do some of that research to find those homes and maybe own its own score. So he really took to that idea. I think he's got a great opportunity there, and we'll see how it all unfolds. If you'd like to continue the conversation here, you can go to morecheeselesswhiskers.com. You can download a copy of the More Cheese, Less Whiskers book, and you can be a guest on the More Cheese, Less Whiskers podcast if you just click on the Be a Guest link. And as always, if you want to see how your business stacks up with the 8 profit activators right now, where the big opportunity is, you can go to profitactivatorscore.com and take the online Profit Activator scorecard. It'll give you immediate insight into how the 8 profit activators are either growing or slowing your business right now. That's it for this week. Tune in next time, and we'll have even more cheese and less whiskers.